Hi, my name is Sally Burnell-Jones. Welcome to the Mathematics in the Primary Classroom Assessment 2 presentation on a mathematical problem. Today we are going to be looking at how we can lower our environmental footprint. Our environmental footprint is the human demand that we put on the Earth's environmental system, the things we do that impact on the environment. There are a variety of impacts such as deforestation, electricity, waste material and food waste and gas emissions. Throughout this presentation, we'll be looking closely at the gas emissions emitted by cars compared to public transport. As you can see from the diagram, travel takes up a huge 34% of pollution out of a household. How can we lower our environmental impact? Well, how many times a week do you travel in your car to work or school? How many times do you travel to work or school by bus or train? Is it the same? Today's investigation is to see how we can reduce our carbon emissions. What is better for our environment, driving our car or taking public transport? As you can see in the diagram, over 6.5 million people get to and from work or school by using a car, compared to just over 300,000 people that use a bus. That's a huge difference. What impacts do you think this will occur if we were to take public transport just one day a week and leave our car at home? Will there be a cost difference? Will it be cheaper or more expensive? What about the environment? Will there be less emissions from a car, bus or train? Today we are going to use Polya's four-stage model to solve this problem. First, understand the problem, which we have done. Devise a plan for solving it. Carry out the plan and look back to examine the solution. So how will we be able to measure the cost and emissions of these vehicles? Firstly, we'll investigate the procedure to work out the cost of driving a car to and from school compared to a bus or train. Then we'll work on the emissions produced by each and what would happen if we were to take public transport just one day a week. So let's get started. We know that on average it costs 74.93 cents per kilometre on a medium-sized car, and we travel approximately 10 kilometres to school every day and 10 kilometres home. Now we have this information, we can work out the cost to travel one way to school. We have made our cents per kilometre into dollar figures. So 0.47493 times that by 10, how far we're travelling, equals 7.493. But as we are using Australian dollars, we need to round this to the nearest cent. So therefore it will be $7.50 to travel to school. The cost of catching a bus to school one way is $3.30. So if we were to catch the bus to school, we would save $4.20 one way. So let's look at the cost per week. Now remember, when we have brackets, we need to work out what's in the brackets first. So for the train, we have a cost each way that multiplies by the times per day. Then we multiply that by the days per week travelled to equal the cost travelled by public transport. So 330 times that by 2 equals $6.60. And then we multiply that by 5 and we get $33. So we know it's $33 per week to travel to school. To work out the cost of our medium-sized car per week, we do cost per kilometre by kilometres travelled times that per day equals cost per day. So cost per day is 7.93 times that by 10 times that by 2 is 14.986 or $15. So times that by 5 we get 74.93 minus our $33 is $41.93 different per week if we were to catch public transport. Now this is a graph that shows the difference in cost per day to a medium-sized car. As we said before, it was $15 a day for a car and $6.60 for a bus. And if we walk to school, it was free. emissions per week. As you can see from the table, a bus emits 22 grams per kilometre compared to a medium-sized car of 209.5 grams. Now if we work out this difference, we get 187.5 grams. So if we were to catch a bus every day, our environment will be so much better off than if we were to drive. Now to work out the emissions per day of our other cars, we do emissions per kilometre times that by the distance travelled during the day. So here we're doing it by 20 because it's 10 kilometres to school and 10 kilometres home. And that's how we have received our answers. Now you can have a look and see what sort of car your family drives to how many emissions your car emits. Now there is a huge difference between a medium-sized car and a bus. What does this tell you? Why do so many people drive a car and not a bus, take a bus to school? Now let's look at the cost of emissions per week. Now what do you think will happen? Will it be cheaper or will it be more expensive? So cost of using your car per day by 5 minus the cost of your car per day by 4 plus 1 day of public transport equals savings per week by catching a public transport 1 day a week. So 7.493 by 20 is $15, times that by 5 is $75 per week. The cost of public transport is $6.60. So if we go 15 by 4 plus $6.60, so $6.60 for 5 days a week of 1 day public transport. So we would be saving $8.40 per week if we were to take public transport 1 day a week instead of 5 days of driving. Now the emissions per week if we were to catch public transport 1 day a week is the same. Emissions per kilometre by 20, 209.5 grams by 20 is 4,190. So if we do that by 5, we get an answer of 20,950 grams per week. Emissions of a bus per day is 440. So if we do our days times 4 plus 440, we get 16,760 by 40 minus each equals 17,200. So our weekly emissions of driving minus our weekly emissions of taking public transport 1 day a week is a saving of 3,750 grams. So we're going to have more money in our pocket of $8.40 a week, and our environment is going to be a lot better off. So what have we learnt from today's lesson? We've been able to calculate through multiplication, addition and subtraction with the correct use of brackets what the cost of and the emissions of travelling to school by bus to and from school. From our calculations, we have noticed that taking public transport is cheaper than driving, but is also a lot better off for our environment.